Hello there, it's Cassie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to show you the Arteza 36 EverBlend markers. These are the gray tones. I had showed this in a haul video once before and Arteza sent these to me. So if you've watched any of my EverBlend videos before, you'll know that I really like them. So chances are I'm going to love these as well. I'll give you a little bit of a rundown real quick. I did do my swatching. Of course, if you've watched any of mine before, you know I swatch. And in doing so, I always use the Waffle Flower Color Swatches stamp set. I use one of these. This is just what I do. And so that way I can stamp it all out and I can color them all out. So yeah, and then you can even use some of these other ones too, like I did before in my skin tone one, which I'll have that linked down below in the description box if you're interested in checking that out. If you missed it, you can check out, or you can use this one for swatching the colors together and then kind of seeing, you know, the colors layer. I'm not sure if I'm explaining that very well, but so there's that. And then let me tell you that with these 36 gray tones, if you already have the set of 60 just colors, you're going to get 4 repeats. If you have the 120 set, you're going to have 25 repeats. I actually don't see that as a bad thing since you can't go and buy the markers separately. This is not a bad thing because then you'll have, I mean, I feel like grays and these, you know, yeah, the gray tones are ones that you're going to use a lot. So you may find that if those repeats are in there, you know, those might be the colors that you use the most anyway. I'm not sure, but it's a good deal. So chisel tip, fine tip on one side. Yeah, and just like the other ones, you know, these are great for all sorts of coloring. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and step away and I'm going to color a project and then we can talk about it in that part. So let's get started. All right, so we're going to go ahead and make a Halloween card. I figured why not? If we're going to just play with those gray tones, let's have fun making a dark background. I'm starting off with the Brutus Monroe. It's the laser cut instant photo frames, and I just kind of lightly drew around the square so I had an idea of where I wanted to color. And I've pulled out one of the EverBlends. I just went with my lightest color, which is typically how I color with any of my alcohol markers. I start lightest and go to darkest. And this is just some, actually this is Nina cardstock that I have. This is what I grabbed. And now I'm kind of drawing out my landscape. So it's a very rough landscape. I'm not like any sort of, obviously, any professional drawer of any kind, but I just needed something in that background because this is supposed to be like nighttime, but all working in the gray tones. So I suppose this, since I'm using that instant photo frame laser cut, you could say this would be like a black and white photo. And I'm going to go ahead and go in with some of my shadowing. And if I'd been thinking, which I may try again another time, I would have probably done my darker shades, like done my shading at the bottom of that part of the landscape rather than at the top of the hill, because your light would hit the top of the hill rather than the bottom of the hill. So, you know, but this is a cartoony, it's not meant to be realistic, and it, like I said, it's just supposed to be a background. It's not, your eye isn't really supposed to be drawn to it, it's just supposed to be there, just a part of the background. So all I'm doing is going in and adding some darker parts where I think they might go, and, you know, that's the neat thing about these gray tones is that you have a lot of options. And I've said this before in, I want to say probably just one video of my coloring. If you find that, like, let's say you have the set of 60 regular colors and you're wanting to go a little bit darker, but you don't have a lot that you can blend into that darker color or to make it darker, you can always use grays. Grays are good, browns are good, but these grays would be very good to add to your collection. Let's say you only had the set of 60. This would be a good set to add into it because you can darken up some of those colors just by adding like a gray tone. So you might go with a mid-gray tone, and if that works out well and you like it and you want to go darker, you could add a darker gray tone to one of the other colors that you're using. All right, now I've decided to color my photo frame, and I'm just doing that with the darkest gray that I have, almost a black, but it's not really That's the, I think 638. I keep that swatch out handy all the time when I'm coloring. All the swatches come out super handy because then I have a quick reference right there, because the color that you see on the marker itself isn't always the color that is actually what it's going to color. For my stamping, I've grabbed this super cute Hello Bluebird stamp set. This is called Halloween Fun, and I also have the matching dies. I bought these on like uber clearance after Halloween last year because I just thought they were so cute, and I knew that I was going to do some videos this year. I'm sure these are still available, so if they are, I will have them linked down below. But I'm inking those up with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. That is alcohol marker friendly. And by that I mean it won't smudge when you color with your alcohol markers. And so I'm just going to color each of these images with some, combination of those grays. I like these grays. These seem to be more of a blue gray, so I thought that would be kind of fun for our little bat here. And I've started with one of the lighter colors. This is the A255. And since they all start with A, I'll just go ahead and say the numbers. I'm not sure where the numbers actually come from, how they, correlate, if it's something to do with the formula or whatnot. But yeah, so this one's 257, and I'm now lightening it up with the 255. Moving on to this ghost, I've grabbed 639, and then that's my lighter one, and then I'm going to grab a little bit darker. I'm kind of keeping all of my shadowing on that left-hand side of the ghost. And then I'll move on to this more, almost like a pink-purple gray. It's kind of cool. It lightens out quite a bit once it's been on the paper for a little bit. But so that's 751, and then I'll go in with the darker one, which is 753. And then I'll blend that out a little bit more. And that'll finish off the coloring. So now I'm going to move on to putting the matching dies over the top, and I'll just put those down with some low tack tape. And then I will run these through my die cutting machine. And I'm going to get ready to do some embossing. So my sentiment's going to go right on that photo frame. It's just perfect for it. So I'm using my magic powder bag, and I'm going to pull out some Versamark ink, which is just a clear sticky ink. And then I'll ink up my stamp and stamp that down, and it says, "Hey, Beautiful." What a fun pun. And then I'll cover that with some Brutus Monroe Alabaster white embossing powder. And then I'll heat that till that is smooth and melted. And you'll be able to tell because it won't be matte finish anymore. It'll be kind of glossy. I've turned it over, and I'm going to cover the back of that just with some 1/8" foam tape. And then I'm going to peel that backing off, and I'm going to stick that right down onto my background that I colored earlier. So it isn't anything fancy, that background isn't it, but it's not meant to be. And then I'm going to trim all the excess paper off. And then we're going to get ready to start adhering things. But I have to have my panel first. So I have pulled out some Brutus Monroe Haunted Mansion paper. This is a new paper pad for them. And then before I go ahead and get the whole front done, I'm going to do something on the inside because I've decided my card base is going to be some Raven cardstock. So that's a black cardstock. And so this panel of white cardstock is going to go on the inside. And I'm just stamping out a couple of the elements for the inside. The bat, and then I'm going to stamp out Wanna Hang Out. I thought that was cute. And then I will adhere down that little scrap of pattern paper. And this panel was cut down to 4 inches by 5 1/4, so it'll just leave a little bit of a black border when you put it on the inside of the card. And I'll adhere that down with some more of that liquid glue. And then we will attach the front, the card, the pattern paper to the front of the card. And then we'll go ahead and adhere down our laser cut frame as well. I do it a little bit wonky. I didn't want it to be completely straight on. And I'm going to go ahead and put my elements up on some foam tape. So I'm putting foam tape all over the back of them, and then I'll start adhering those. I did miss the part where I drew down the little white line. I used just a Uni-Ball gel pen, Signo Uni-Ball gel pen for that. And then I'm adhering all of my elements to the front here. So my general consensus with these EverBlend markers is, yeah, absolutely. I said it with the skin tones as well. If you enjoy coloring with the alcohol markers, these EverBlend markers they're great. They're a good price point, and the grays are an absolutely fabulous addition to your 60 or even your 120. I would definitely recommend them. And I'll have a link down below to where you can get them, and I will even have a coupon code for you to use if you'd like to utilize that at the same time. So yeah, if you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thanks for all the love and support y'all leave. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by.